pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll call this council meeting at 6 o'clock. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Dick, second by Steve. To approve the agenda is posted and sent to the news media at least 24 hours prior to the meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We had a council workshop on January 9th and 20th. We'll read the minutes from that. January 9th meeting, council met at 6:45 p.m. Members present were Lucas-Meyer, Hagenbeck, Davies, Crowley, Harms, and Hickman. Also present were Mayor Bimler, Police Chief Bob Schaefer, Public Works Director Doug Tarr, and City Manager Ron Dunn. Council meeting, the council heard funding request from the Hampton Public Library. Director Kim Manning requested $2,000 increase from $8,000 to $82,000 per year. Jim Davies, Hampton Historical Preservation Commission, requested the same $250 as the current year. Senior Center Representative Keith Codenbeadle requested funding at the same level at the current year at $4,000. Franklin County Development Association Board President Kathy Alden requested funding at the same level as the current year at $45,000. Christina Reich of Main Street Hampton requested an increase of $3,000 from $12,000 to $15,000. Eric Christensen, representing the Chamber Design Committee, requests TIF funding for the facade grant program at the same level as the current of $10,000. NT submitting written requests but not attending tonight's meeting were as follows. Franklin County Alcoholism Service Center, $13, same as current year. Municipal Band requesting $6,900, same as the current level of funding. The council workshop concluded at 7:43 p.m. The minutes from the January 20th meeting. Hampton City Council held a budget workshop at 6 p.m. in City Council chambers. Members present: Lucas-Meyer, Davies, Crowley, Harms, Hickman, and Hagenbeck. Also present were Mayor Bimler, City Manager Ron Dunn, Public Works Director Doug Tarr, and Police Chief Bob Schaefer. On the budget proposals under consideration, requested direction from the council on entities, agency funding, as well as other changes the council would like to make in the proposal. As presented, the proposals included a balanced general fund budget and a 41-cent increase in the employee benefit levy. Last year, the employee benefit levy was reduced to use up some employee benefit fund surplus, thereby reducing the property tax needed. The employee benefit levy fluctuated from year to year depending on the insurance claims, history, premium paid, self-funding exposure, and fund balance available. After much discussion, the consensus of the council was to direct Ron to set the fiscal year 2015 NT agency funding as follows. NT's funded through General Fund, Hampton Public Library, $82,000. Franklin County Alcoholism Service Center, $13,000. Historic Commission, $250. Municipal Band, $6,900. Senior Center, $4,000. TIF funded entities, FCDA, $45,000. Main Street Hampton, $15,000. Design Committee Facade Grant, $10,000. And other general funds matters. Chief Schaefer presented a proposal to replace 2 patrol cars, an outright purchase of a Ford patrol sedan, and to trade off the 2011 Dodge Charger on a used 2011 Ford Crown Victoria. 2007 Crown Victoria would be used as an airport courtesy car as an option. The council consensus was to include these vehicles in the 2015 budget. Other items in the consensus for the general fund budget: $15,000 matching fund for the FFA hangar roof replacement grant project. The grant portion of that project will be roughly $130,000 or 90% of the total cost. $13,000 for police department sloop technology upgrades, $15,000 for the fire department air tank replacement, new lawnmowers for park cemetery, motor replacement for cemetery motor, $15,000 for nuisance property demolition expense, and $2,000 increase for the Hampton Public Library. In other budget discussion, the council preferred to seek fundraising donations to purchase of new floatable and lounge chairs for the aquatic center as an alternative to budgeting for these items. Although an aquatic center park security systems was discussed in detail, it was not included in the budget. The budget proposal also included many items such as water main replacement projects in the southwest quadrant, sewer main relining projects, street overlays, and equipment replacement. Council will ask Doug and Ron to pursue traffic signal grant funds through the IDOT TSIP process and direct Ron to proceed with the remaining budget items as proposed. Council consensus was to meet on February 13, 2014 to approve the proposed budget and to set March 10th as the date for public hearings on the budget adoption. Council determined it will not be necessary to hold its scheduled budget workshop on January 27th as it has been canceled. The council concluded its workshop at 8:25 p.m. Next on our agenda is public comment. Oh, Dick.
One question about the trade-in, would go against either one or just the Interceptor?
Actually, what the plan was is that the trade-in would go towards the new vehicle and the 2011 or the 2011 Crown Vic would be the outright purchase. So that's correct.
Anyone else? Public comment? None registered? Anybody have anything? If not, we'll proceed to old business, which we have none. And we go to new business. This is consideration of the approval of reappointment of Eric Christensen to the Hampton Historical Preservation Commission, term expiring December 31st, 2016.
He was asked, Jim, did you ask?
Yeah, Eric is a current member and he has been asked and he would like to again be reappointed.
So we're looking for a motion to approve that.
I would move we approve Eric Christensen to the Hampton Historic Preservation Commission.
Motion by Jim, second by Val, to approve the reappointment of Eric Christensen to the Hampton Historical Preservation Commission, term expiring December 31st, 2016. Any discussion? If none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item, consideration of approval of new volunteer firefighters, Joel McWilliams and Jacob Schwebke. These two applications have been approved by the Hampton Fire Department, and boy, it's great that they're willing to serve on that. That's just phenomenal. Any discussion, or are we looking for a motion?
Move to approve.
Excellent. Steve, second by?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Joel McWilliams and Jacob Schwebke being added to the roster of volunteer firefighters with the Hampton Fire Department. Any discussion? If none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now we'll take a consideration of approval of amendment to Yagi Colby Association scope of services for the library improvement packet. You'll find your packet, the yellow. And I'll refer this to City Manager Ron Dutt.
Thank you, Mayor. As you recall, we had previously approved a contract with Yagi Colby for scope of services for the library project. That was in November of 2013. This is a proposal for additional services based on discussions during a site visit by Ben Wolf, professional engineer of Yagi Colby & Associates on January 8, 2014, where the city and the library has indicated the desire to add the following additional improvements to the project: storm sewer piping to the extent necessary to connect existing building downspouts on the east side of the library to the existing city storm sewer system, site lighting improvements to include parking lot, outdoor reading area, and building uplighting, library foundation drainage and moisture protection improvements to address issues with dampness and moisture along the east exterior foundation wall of the library. Yagi Colby & Associates proposes the following scope of services required to complete the project. There would be additional engineered site plans for storm roof drainage and electrical site plans for the lighting, and library foundation waterproofing plan specs and details on that type of work. It's proposed that this schedule included in the original amount shall apply to the scope of services identified in this proposal, so this will not change the project schedule timeline as he had previously let us know. For project fee, they propose to provide these services reflected in the scope of services on an hourly rate basis for not to exceed fee. 1, engineered plans, $500. 2, electrical site plans, $3,000. 3, library foundation waterproofing, $950 for a total proposed additional fee of $4,450. And the Hampton Library Board has approved this, they're aware of it, and since the funding's coming from the foundation, I wanted to make sure they were all on board, and so this went to the Library Foundation, I think Tuesday night it was approved, so.
So these fees are being paid
Yeah, this
by the
project,
through the foundation.
yes, the
including
project
fees,
is, yes.
and these fees,
Yeah.
too. Okay. But we just have to.
We administer it all.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
everything runs through the council.
There were some engineering fees for the entire project, to start the entire project. Is that also coming out of foundation money?
Yes.
Okay.
Library Foundation, they have funds, they have, I don't, they have donations that they've collected throughout the years.
They got a pretty large donation last year. Is that-
Yeah, they had like $106,000 last year, a few years ago, well, I don't know how many years ago, they had $400,000. I don't know what balance is in their funds, but
Do you know how much this overall project is gonna cost? I'm just curious.
no,
Oh,
we're waiting for the engineer. The engineer, once they get all the information regarding types of materials being used and things like that, then they're gonna put together an engineer's cost estimate prior to the bid letting process, so.
And then at that point, I guess the foundation, if they feel they don't have the funds, they could maybe eliminate something?
That's right.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, the foundation, of course, has to be on board with everything before it proceeds.
And we're not obligating the city for any of this project.
Right.
There hasn't been any request yet. of the
No,
city.
we haven't committed any funds to this. We're simply administering this
Right.
for them. Yep.
So we're looking for a motion to get into the discussion phase to approve the amendment on the scope of the service for the library improvement project.
I would move to approve the amendment to the A.B. Colby Associates Scope of Service for the Library Improvement Project.
Thank you, Jim. For a second.
Second.
So we're going, I'll give this to Diane. And now this is a motion by Jim, second by Diane to approve the amendment to Yagi Covey Scope of Service for the Library Improvement Project, authorizing the mayor to sign. Let's bring us up to discussion and talk through this.
Who seconded this?
Diane.
Jay asked me about the original engineering services agreement, and I believe the amount was in the neighborhood of 16,000 and some, I don't know the exact amount, but, so, combined with this one, I think it's 21 and 22,000.
I just wanted to throw a few things on the discussion on this is, I attended the meeting the other day with Ron, and some of the concerns I have is even though we aren't paying for it, it is a city asset. And one of the things that I was concerned or in favor of is, one, that it look and feel like part of our downtown community. I was concerned about the lighting that went into it, that it matched up, and they were concerned about going up and they wanted it to go down, and Yagi Colby explained that yes, they can get lights that go, we can use our same structure downtown and have the lights pointed down. I just want it to look like it's part of our downtown community and not to one-off anything. Also anything with the chairs or just to make it look as part of our downtown. I also asked about a signage on the east side there in the corner, just as more as an entrance into our downtown community. It's a perfect place. It will showcase our downtown and will be a nice thing. Want to see if we could put that in. And the third one that I brought up and I will continue to think about is, Ron and Doug do a lot of work on administering these projects, and this is a project that we will be administering as a soft cost, another soft cost that we'll have to look over, even though it's not our cash. There will be resources put out on this. All the bills that come through, making sure it's done to the specification. If anything's wrong, the city will somehow being sucked into it since it's coming through the city. So I just want us to be aware of it, that we do have a dog in the fight by administering it, even though we aren't paying for it. We're the ones who has to administer it. So those are the three things I brought up in this, to Yagi and Yagi and Colby and Associates, and to the two the foundation board president and the library board president, and to Kim, that we want those were my feelings. So I just want to bring up that discussion, talk through that as we approve this.
What were their comments to your questions, requests?
I think that was, they hadn't considered making it part of the downtown. They thought that was going in that, direction, because they were afraid the lights going up and that stuff. So I think that was a direction that they hadn't considered, that it should be part of the parks and part of our downtown look and feel like they're downtown. So I felt that they understood our comments, and also the concept of Ron and us administering it is a cost to us, even though it's a soft cost. So I thought that was good to state it to the two boards involved that we have no control over. And then the third one, the signage, they hadn't thought about that, and there's really not room, but J.D. Colby thought, oh, that could work and that stuff, and there could be other grants to do that. On that east side of that library, when you're coming west on Highway 3, you don't know that that's a library until you get past it. So, and then with that parking lot there, and that beautiful parking lot, it would be nice to know that that is a city parking lot, not a church parking lot, not a private parking lot. It is a downtown parking space right there. That's really the only one you really see off of Highway 3 that the city owns. Everything else is off things. So it'd be nice for people to know that that is a city free parking. Use it. So those are my comments. I don't know if anybody else has any comments or discussion on this before we vote.
I just have a question on, when we do work on a building like that, do we bring the insurance company in then to, is our insurance changed by doing some remodeling to this building? Because the city pays the insurance on it.
Yes, yeah. And I'm not sure how it will affect our premiums. It might affect the premiums, and I'm sure the insurance company, when it's complete, will review the property.
As we get into the project, we're approving these fees, do we then approve all expenditures?
Yes.
And then in doing so, are we expected to rubber stamp it, or do we actually have any say in it?
Well, I think that the library board and the foundation, we want them to be in the loop communication-wise and be approving of everything, ideally before things come to the council. I'd like to have their board approve it before it comes to the city council, so you guys know that they have approved what it is you're seeing. And if they're, ideally, they're supposed to provide the funding stream, the funds to our capital project fund, and then we will have the funds in there to pay the expenses. So that's how I anticipate it working. They're paying for it. I don't know how much control you have over saying no.
Just asking.
Yeah.
I think after, they're still preliminary, so we will get to see the final designs and that stuff. I think this just gets it off square one. We're approving to get the designs. I think that's when we'll get to say or make sure we're all on the same page.
And I'm not
on
saying
the
we
design.
should have to scrutinize everything, I was just asking.
Yeah. And I think
I don't know if I want to.
that if something comes up
Okay,
that
option.
something comes up that you're concerned about, I'll bring it to their attention and try to work through it.
But I think they're doing a great job, and not questioning that, but just really asking about our role in it. Thank you.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next on our list is approval of claims as submitted by staff. We have modified it based upon a couple question we had. So I'm asking to Ron, and we are asking for a motion to approve the claims as submitted by staff in the amount of $106,599.11. It's 106,599.11. Is that correct?
Yeah, and just for the record, I would point out that we pulled the bill from Progressive Farmer for DTN service in the street department, and look into that and look at what other alternatives there are. Report back to you.
That's great that we get to look over that and
Yeah.
question that stuff, so thank you for
Yeah.
doing that. So I'd like a motion for that amount, to approve the claims for that amount.
I would move we approve the claims in the new total of $106,599.11.
Second.
Thanks, Steve. So motion by Jim, second by Steve to approve the claims as submitted by staff in the amount of $106,599.11. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll move on here to the introduction and consideration of approval of adoption of ordinance. This will be read and explained by City Manager Ron Dunn.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance 346 is an ordinance amending Chapter 165, Article 11, Arterial Transitional Zoning District, AT, by adding new subsection 4.3, multifamily dwellings thereto. The purpose of this ordinance is to amend Section 4 of Article 11, AT, of Chapter 165 of the Hampton Municipal Code to provide a new subsection allowing multifamily dwellings as a conditional use. Amendment, Section 4 of Article 11 AT of Chapter 165 of the Hampton Municipal Code is amended by adding thereto Section 4.3 multifamily dwellings as defined herein below. Definitions. The term multifamily dwelling shall be defined as a residence designed for occupancy by 3 or more families with separate facilities for housekeeping and cooking for each, as defined as dwelling multifamily under Article 3, Chapter 165, Hampton Municipal Code. Thank you, Mayor.
Doug, do you want to talk to this? Anybody have questions about this? Where it came from, why we're doing it?
You have a question, what prompted it?
Excellent question.
Citizen brought this up, had a question pertaining to this use. It was taken to the Planning and Zoning Commission for discussion. They discussed it, and they've recommended it. They think that's a good fit, and that's why it's in front of you. Multifamily in the AT district is very common in other communities that have similar type named districts, and they thought it was a good fit.
Did this have anything to do with any other incident at all? Or, I mean, totally something independent of any
It's just-
other type of action?
No one's
or
come forward and
request
told
or-
me they want to build one.
No, it's just over the years, we've had more than one inquire about multifamily
So would this be
construction.
something like new construction or modifying current buildings in residential areas?
Not in residential areas, only in AT zone,
Only AT zone?
which is on the corridor. Yeah, which is AT is a mixed use, mixed commercial and residential. You have both of them in that.
Along Highway 3 and
Yes.
65?
Yeah.
Which does have residences along
That's
Highway
right.
3 and 65?
Yeah. And, multifamily dwelling, I think it's preferable, and the Planning and Zoning Commission would prefer to see an apartment facility or something like that in the AT versus in a neighborhood of,
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if it meant where you could modify a current, like, single dwelling and make it so that, like, multifamilies could live in.
you could theoretically in the AT zone, once this is approved.
It would have to pass inspections and meet the criteria though for that type structure.
Thank you.
This AT zone is basically 2 blocks wide for most of the strip through Highway 65 and Highway 3,
It's the
but
tan there.
there are a few blocks that are wider than that.
Yeah, it varies in width and depth, it does. It's the tan color.
And this came through the planning and zoning. They're the ones who are requesting this, but there is not a specific
There's no
There's no
construction.
construction or
Right.
anything.
Waiting,
based on
no.
that.
Correct.
To start the discussion, it'd be great if we could get a motion on this. This is a first reading, unless we're looking for a waiver, but let's get into the discussion phase by getting on a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the first reading of ordinance 346.
Motion by Dick, second by,
Second.
thanks, Steve. So it's a motion by Dick, second by Steve to approve the first reading of ordinance number 346. Let's go into discussion on that. Jim, you had some questions? Is there more concerns? And I guess
No,
that is
I guess I put the cart ahead of the horse and had some discussion prior to the motion being seconded, but my questions were answered.
Thank you. And with that, I mean, I'll ask the question, is like, so what Jim was saying is if I have a house in this corridor, all I have to do is I can change it right now to a multifamily and just pass inspection to do that.
Put 3 kitchens in.
I can put right.
Correct, yep, with building permits and.
Right, with the permits and such, but there will be no discussion of that.
Right.
Right now, if I wanted to do that, they would have to come in and get a variance?
No, in the AT, it was not
It's not allowed.
permitted use.
It's not allowed.
Right, currently it's not allowed.
I guess I do have a question. Do we define cooking and housekeeping? I mean, is a hot plate and a microwave count as cooking? Or is that something under the apartment?
I'm not sure.
Because I mean, you could
Those are
be
defined.
pretty loose with what, some people cook.
Well, some people might have to put in a sprinkler system in a multifamily. We'd have to look at that in the codes, but.
And actually, I just want to point out that under purpose number 1, you see, it's being allowed, it's added as a conditional use. So they would have to come to the
Board of Adjustment.
Board of Adjustment to get that conditional use permit. So it's not like they just go do it. They're going to come and they're going to explain their project to the board.
As long as people are aware that they just don't do it, because we've had a case where somebody did it, and then they come afterwards and ask. And that's, I guess that's, I'm
So we're
concerned about,
clarifying
is
that.
to make sure that we don't run into any of those issues again.
Another thing, because it's in the arterial transitional district, any changes or modifications would also have to go through not just the conditional use permit for here, but you still have to go to the Planning and Zoning Commission as well for a design review, because there is a design review board, which is the Planning and Zoning Commission. There is a set of criteria that has to be met at that point too. So that if someone was gonna just try to remodel a house per se, there's a lot of hoops to jump through before you could just all of a sudden throw in 3 or 4 families into the house.
Like I said, it's been done before.
As far as like parking requirements, you have to have so many places to park cars for so many people.
Correct.
So the current ordinances would also permit like
Yes.
Yes.
Any other discussion?
And since this is the first reading, if you have any more input or hear public input, bring it back and talk about it some more at the second reading.
Well, let's go through a roll call vote. Steve?
Aye.
Jay?
Aye.
Huckabee?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Dick?
Aye.
And Diane?
Aye.
We have passed the first reading. Is there any motions to waive readings?
It's too late now for that one.
Okay.
If that's gonna happen, I'll just say, on an ordinance, if you want to waive 2 of the readings and pass the ordinance in 1 reading, that's a vote that you do first prior to making a motion to approve the first reading. And that takes, I think, 5 out of 6. It takes 5 ayes in order to waive 2 readings. But you can do that on ordinances, and
So that takes us into the next one. So if we want to forego any of these readings, that needs to be in the form of that motion before we vote.
the motion to waive any readings, that would be done before you make a motion to
Okay.
First reading, yes.
So we have two more of these to go, so,
If we wanted to entertain the idea, we could actually waive the third reading at our
Yeah,
next meeting. You can-
yeah, you can do that
so
too.
the next one, we could waive
Sure.
this.
Yeah.
Okay. So we will go into ordinance number 347, and I will defer to City Manager Ron Dunt to read through that.
Thank you. Ordinance number 347, an ordinance amending Section 4, Article 12, Light Industrial Zoning, I-1, Chapter 165, Hampton Code, and Section 4, Article 13, Heavy Industrial Zone, I-2, Chapter 165, Hampton Code, allowing firearm manufacturing and assembly as principal permitted use. Purposes. The purpose of this ordinance is to amend Section 4 of Article 12, I-1, Chapter 165, Hampton Municipal Code, and Section 4, Article 13, I-2, Chapter 165 of the Hampton Municipal Code to allow firearm manufacturing and assembly as a principal permitted use. Amendment. Section 4 of Article 12, I-1, and Section 4 of Article 13, I-2, Chapter 165, Hampton Municipal Code are amended as follows. Section 4 of Article 12, I-1 of Chapter 165 is amended by adding new Section 4.28 to read as follows. 4.28 Firearm Manufacturing and Assembly. Section 4 of Article 13, I-2 of Chapter 165 is amended by adding new subsection 4.13 to read as follows. 4.13 Firearm Manufacturing and Assembly. Definitions. Firearms are defined as rifles, pistols, and other portable gun. Penalty. Any individual, corporation, firm, limited liability company, or partnership shall, upon violating any of the provisions of the municipal code, be charged with a simple misdemeanor. Upon conviction, be subject to imprisonment not to exceed 30 days or a fine not exceeding $625. And Doug, give some history on why this is in front of you.
This is in front of you, had some discussions with Karen Mitchell on this is growing industry, and to have this as a tool in their toolbox would be a good thing in their thoughts. This was taken to the Planning and Zoning Commission. They felt the same, and so Planning and Zoning has recommended it to you folks.
There is no current company that we are aware of that is looking to build a firearm manufacturing plant in Hampton. Like Doug said, the FCDA is looking to have proper things in place, ordinances in place that are open to manufacturing such as that, since it's a growing industry at this point. And by having these as a permitted use, this area would make at least the first cut. If they're looking and say, well, it's allowed by ordinance, we'll give it a second look. So it's an economic development tool for the toolbox, like Doug said.
The impact of ammo and those type of things, and I had also heard that by clearing the first round of this, by us having it, people would consider us. If having this on the books, then all of a sudden, it's like, why would we spend all the time site selecting when it's already dead set on our books that we will not allow it? So, that was my questions too, was, do we have someone specific looking? No, but we won't even be considered. And this also has passed the planning and zoning too, that they're fine with it. We still hold the fireworks, and I think explosives are very specific in there. So if we ever want to get into the fireworks business, we would have to do the same thing. But those would remain the same with the firearms and ammunition. So one of the things that I would say, considering this, is if we do want to make a motion to waive the readings, or we can go through the readings and bring them again, just how you want to form your first motion will dictate that. If there's any other discussion or questions about how you want to frame your questions or your motion, now would be the time. So, we'll look for a motion for either to waive the readings or to approve this motion in the first reading. We'll still have two more to go. So, anybody wants to give me that motion?
I would just say, if I could interject, if I would recommend not waiving readings of changes in ordinance if there's any chance that the public might have a little outcry or want input at a future time. Best to weigh on the side of being patient and just do it.
I'm no fan of waiving readings, unless it's a dire situation.
Time sensitive. And since there isn't time sensitivity on this.
I'll move to approve the first reading of ordinance number 347.
Thank you, Steve.
Second.
Yeah. Any other discussions on this?
I agree, this could be an issue that some people could object to. We definitely should.
Do we know why it was prohibited in the first place? Or was it just common
No.
practice to put it in there?
Don't really know.
Okay. I didn't know if there was a big outcry at the time.
Nothing I'm aware of. I
Of
wasn't
course,
here,
it's been
this has been on the
many,
books
many
for a long
Okay,
time.
I wasn't sure what it was.
Any other discussion? If not, we'll go with a roll call vote. Diane?
Aye.
Dick?
Aye.
Jay?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Val?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
That first reading passes. Second, ordinance number 348, I will defer to Ron Dunk, City Manager Ron Dunk, to read this.
Ordinance 348. An ordinance amending Section 3E of Article 12 Light Industrial Zoning District I-1 and Section 3D of Article 13 Heavy Industrial Zoning District I-2. Chapter 165, removing the words gunpowder from the prohibited industrial uses, Hampton Municipal Code. The purpose of this ordinance is to amend Section 3E of Article 12 I-1 and Section 3D of Article 13 I-2 of Chapter 165 of the Hampton Municipal Code to remove the words gunpowder, leaving the words fireworks and other explosives. Amendment, Section 3D of Article 13 I-2, Chapter 165, and Section 3E of Article 12 I-1, Chapter 165, Hampton Municipal Code are herewith amended to read as follows. Section 3D of Article 13 I-2, Chapter 165 of the Hampton Municipal Code shall be manufacture or storage of fireworks or other explosives as defined herein. Fireworks are defined as any device containing specific chemicals that are known to produce spectacular effects and explosions, and includes but is not limited to sparklers, snakes, pop bottle, or other devices that launch to provide a sky display, firecrackers, or any other device containing combustible chemicals ignited to produce explosions or spectacular event effects. Explosives are defined as any substance able or likely to explode, but excluding farm chemicals and fertilizer. Section 3E of Article 12 I-1, Chapter 165, Hampton Municipal Code shall be manufacture or storage of fireworks or other explosives as defined herein. Fireworks are defined as any device containing specific chemicals that are known to produce spectacular effects and explosions, and includes but is not limited to sparklers, snakes, pop bottle, or other devices that launch to provide a sky display, firecrackers, or any other device containing combustible chemicals ignited to produce explosion or spectacular effects. Explosives are defined as any substitute able or likely to explode, but excluding farm chemicals and fertilizer. Thank you, Mayor.
Doug, you want to explain anything? It's the same concept, isn't it?
I believe it goes hand in hand with
With the one we
the other
just went
two
through.
ordinances.
Dick?
Unless I'm missing something, do we have two paragraphs that are just duplicated? The
Yes,
firework paragraph?
but one is 3D of Article
Two
13.
different sections.
The other one's 3E of Article 12.
Same paragraph.
One's heavy industrial, one's light industrial. Yep.
And we are not time sensitive on this either, so
Right.
it's the exact same circumstances as the last reading. So unless someone feels we need to waive, I think we are looking just for the motion for the first reading.
So this is more to allow production of ammunition to go along with guns?
Well, this,
Or,
the gunpowder was included in things that weren't allowed, like,
Okay.
and so we're pulling it out, so it would be allowed.
Right.
Right, so you can, if we want bullets for the guns, we can do that.
We want the ammunition to be able to fire or have gunpowder.
Gunpowder. The girls,
Just as a sidebar, there's currently an ammunition, they're producing ammunition in Allison, 20 miles away from here, so.
So, I'm looking for a motion to approve the first reading of this.
I'd make motion to approve the first reading of ordinance number 348.
Diane, second.
Second.
Dick. Motion by Diane, second by Dick to approve the first reading of ordinance number 348. Any discussion before going to a roll call vote? None? We'll go into Jim.
Aye.
Diane.
Aye.
Dick.
Aye.
Val.
Aye.
Steve.
Aye.
Jay.
Aye.
Thank you. One more, aren't I? This is ordinance number 349, and I will defer to City Manager Ron Dunt for the reading and introduction of this ordinance.
Thank you. Ordinance number 349, an ordinance amending section 6, article 12, light industrial zoning district, I-1, chapter 165, Hampton Municipal Code, and section 6, article 13, heavy industrial zoning district, I-2, chapter 165, Hampton Municipal Code, to provide ammunition manufacturing as a conditional use. The purpose of this ordinance is to amend section 6, article 12, I-1 by adding a new section 6.7 to article 12, chapter 165 of the Hampton Code of Ordinances, renumbering current section 6.7 to 6.8, and adding new subsection 6.7, renumber current section 6.7 to section 6.9 to article 13 I-2, chapter 165 of the Hampton Municipal Ordinances by adding new subsections to provide that ammunition manufacturing may be a conditional use in light and heavy industrial districts. Amendments, section 6, article 12 I-1, chapter 165, and section 6, article 13 I-2, chapter 165 of the Hampton Municipal Code are hereby amended by adding their new section 6.7 in said article 12 I-1, renumbering current 6.7, 6.2, 6.8, and adding section 6.7 to article 13 I-2, chapter 165 Hampton Municipal Code, and renumbering current subsection 6.7 to section 6.9, which amendments will each read as follows. Section 6.7, article 12 I-1, chapter 165, and section 6.7, article 13 I-2, chapter 165, manufacturing ammunition, commonly defined as bullets or shells to be used in pistols, rifles, shotguns, and other means of projectile. Thank you, Mayor.
And Doug, same thing, third round of this, no pressure, it's the same as the other two, kind of go hand in hand.
The other thing I would add is there are also some state and federal guidelines on these type structures if one were to be built here, that would be different guidelines. So you need to have, the building has to be constructed a certain way, and you have to have plenty of setback and other things, so it's not like someone's gonna pop one of these in someone's backyard, so.
And this is for very specific places within our city.
And this is a conditional use, so it will be reviewed.
I'm looking for a motion unless there's any other comments that we need to go through.
Move to approve the first reading of ordinance number 349.
Thank you, Steve. Second? Val. Motion by Steve, second by Val to approve the first reading of ordinance number 349. Any other discussion that we need to take? We'll have two more readings of this. We'll do a roll call vote. Any discussion? Dick?
The penalties here are imprisonment of not exceeding 30 days or a fine not exceeding $625. We just go by a guideline of some other.
State, I think that's state code. Bob?
Yes. Maximum allowed.
Anything else?
Well, who would be imprisoned if it's a business? A manager?
Person, firm, corporation, or five.
Person, firm, or corporation.
Who made the direction, it's the board of directors or whoever said to break the law to the corporation. All right, let's go into roll call vote. Jay? Aye. Steve?
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Val?
Aye.
Dick?
Aye.
Thank you very much, and that passes, and we'll have 2 more readings of that. We're going to the consent agenda to approve the previous minutes as drafted from the Thursday, January 9th, 2014 regular session meeting. Schedule the next regular session meeting for Thursday, February 13th, 2014 at 6 p.m. at City Council Chambers. And approve of renewal of alcohol licensing for Get and Go Convenience Store number 9319 Central Avenue, East Hampton, Iowa. Looking for a consent agenda for those 3 items, unless for some reason pull one of them out.
I'd make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Diane, Steve, motion by Diane, second by Steve to approve the consent agenda of the following items already previously read. And any other discussion on that?
I just want to make a side note that Diane will be in charge of the meeting that night, so allow the public here.
We're inviting the public, as Diane will be running that meeting as the Mayor Pro Tem.
And a side note, Dick's not going to be here.
Wonderful. No more discussion. We'll have a vote for everybody in favor. Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Consent agenda motion passes. We are now into the staff reports. Fire Chief Ken Wilkinson is not here. Defer to Police Chief Bob Schaefer.
Don't have anything this evening, unless somebody might ask a question for me.
I do.
Okay?
I have questions about one of the things that we talked about in our meeting about the video cameras in the park. Some of the questions that I've had some thoughts and considerations on is I'd like to hear more about your thoughts on putting a security system in the Progress Park, which was on the original budget, and we decided to defer that. I want to know, again, your thoughts on it, and do you think this would be a good chance for us to start on using police cameras or security systems to help do a better job of effectively policing some of our public areas?
I guess that particular one there, I'm a proponent for.
You were for it?
Yes.
Okay.
I also realize that it costs money.
Correct?
I think that that would be something that we could look for grants for, and I would be, more than willing to work with Doug or with Ron in trying to do that. That area there, I guess because of the park and how it's used, not only necessarily in my push, isn't necessarily for the vandalism side of it, but because there's kids there. We all know what happened in Evansdale. Part of, they still haven't caught the people that have done that, but part of what it helped them in finding out time-wise where those girls were at and things like that was a video camera that a business had in the back alley. They knew those girls rode their bikes by there at a certain time. I guess that's the angle I'm going for, is more the safety angle than I am necessarily to see who's vandalizing things. We've got tennis courts down there, we have playground down there, we've got skateboard park down there. I just feel swimming pool, unfortunately, let's hope that we don't ever have that happen, but if a pedophile's gonna visit someplace, that's where they're gonna visit. Right. So that's the angle I'm taking as far as wanting cameras down there, more so than the vandalism side of it.
And part of the budget request that you had put in for that was to monitor it too, 24-hour monitoring out of the dispatching system. And do you feel comfortable that the $8,000 that you put in the budget could get at least started on that and maybe matching budgets? And if you don't meet it, I would like to see us try to get grants, but I would sure like to bring up for the consideration. I want to hear your thoughts, and I will save my comments for later, but I think that's something we may want to reconsider. Any other questions for the chief?
I'd just like to say I appreciate you bringing up that side of it, because that is something I hadn't thought of.
Yeah, that came to my attention, just the Amber Alerts, the security side, and when you start looking at the Boston Marathon and identification, those were all done through cameras, and a lot of them were private, but we have private cameras now, and a lot of our businesses have cameras going on in their businesses, and whether you like it or not, it's happening all along, and that is such a big spot, and it is concerning to me that if we have this opportunity, we may want to take it, and we can always take it down, but it's something we may want to think about. I just wanted to, thank you. Is there any other questions for the chief?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next is Doug Tarr, Public Works Director.
Event's bitter cold out. We don't have a lot of questions if you have any.
I had a comment, your report, or what you handed out, you said 70 notices were sent out. What were those notices regarding? Oh, here it is.
They haven't been sent out yet. They're under review right now, but that'd be regarding the rental housing, and really the notices are reminders, just reminding some of the landlords that are in need of getting their inspections.
They need to get the renewals, is that what
Yeah,
that
they
is?
just need to get renewals, so they're just basically reminders for those.
And how long do they have, I mean, when we send them out, how long do they have before they get those renewals back? Or to schedule with you, I know it's a
Right.
time
The
essence
wording-
for you.
The wording is currently being reviewed by the new city attorney.
Okay.
So we're kind of waiting for her input to see some of that information, see where she wants to go. We're reasonable. If you call and say, hey, it'll be next month or what have you, we work with folks on that. It's just a communication, just trying to prompt that communication basically is what we're trying to do.
And those 70 reminders letters, for what period? Is that for the year, or is that for the quarter, or is that?
That's currently what we have on file right now
That need to be done this year?
Yes.
Oh, for the whole year?
Right.
Well, I didn't know if that
it'll be
was a
good
month
once
or
they
a
get
week. I was
through
like,
it,
oh
but
gosh,
yeah.
you know, get backed up pretty
And
quick.
they get another one in 5 years from now. once they
Okay,
go
good. So
through it.
you have about 70 permits that need to be inspected this year in this.
Correct.
Thank you.
But we're doing other ones that
We get
have
new
come in on their own.
Come in on their own,
There's some
right.
just haven't come in or haven't made any initiative yet.
Any other questions for Public Works Director Doug Tarr?
I had asked you a question because a citizen had approached me on Highway 65, the turning lanes, the new turning lanes that we have on Highway 65, a half a block south and a half a block north of Highway 3. And that's what we were talking with you, and that was the state directive, and their intent was not to make that entire block from, say, going south, hit and go, all the way down to First. The state's intent is halfway down. It's a turning lane. And I spoke with him today and explained that to him. He understood that. Of that.
Yeah, it is weird that the DOT will do some things like that. Other than seeing them there, they just come in town and do their thing. You know, I'd like to see communication a little bit better, so we could answer questions from our own citizens, but they will hire up the food chain sometimes, so I think maybe that's why some of that doesn't happen, unfortunately. But if we're doing work on that, I gotta really let them know, because that's how we roll.
Thank you, Doug. Ron Dunn, City Manager.
I don't have anything unless anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Ron. Val, what do you have from Ward 1?
I have nothing tonight, Eric. Thank you.
Jim Davies, Ward 2.
A couple of things, the next Hampton Historic Preservation Commission meeting is 6:30 on Monday, February 17th. Location to be announced, but we will be sending out a notice to the press since it's an open meeting. We just have to determine the location. And then regarding the security system at the, I think we should consider applying for a community foundation grant. The deadline's January 31st. So it's coming up, so I don't know if we have anything else in mind. We maybe talked about a floatable, but I think that putting that in for a grant might be a very good project that we could get funded.
Is that up to 10,000?
I think, yeah, I think it apply for up to $10,000. There's a match involved, but we could get a good portion of that paid for if the foundation so decides to give us the money.
Bob, hadn't you said you were gonna look into doing that?
There might be other things.
Yes, we've done that in the past, so.
But again, the deadline's January 31st coming up, and you have to apply online. But I think you pretty much have all the information that you would need to do so. And I'd be glad to help with that if you need to. I think you could probably do it, or Ron, even Doug. But that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Out of Ward 3, Diane Crowley.
The only thing I have is I want to thank the 2 volunteer fire department members and thank Eric Christensen. Always takes a lot of volunteers to run any community.
Diane. Ward 4, Jay.
Nothing to report.
And representing the whole city at large, Steve Harms.
Nothing tonight.
All right. And the other at large, Mr. Dick Lickens.
I just have a short speech, half an hour or so.
Okay, great.
I move that adjourn.
Oh,
sorry,
Dick.
We had a budget workshop on Monday night, and I want to thank you 2 gentlemen for being prepared. I think we moved through that I've been involved in 5 of those processes now. We're not done yet, but I think with the information provided, very, very quickly and effectively, so you guys did a nice job.
My report is, I just want to say the winter cold has affected a lot of people's attitudes. Everybody just needs to think about maybe putting a smile on their face, and the sun will come out tomorrow. And I think as the mayor of Hampton, I can proclaim that the sun will come out. We just got to get through it. I also am concerned about that we should fill out a community grant for something. It's there for us. I don't know who should do it, but we can only fill out one. So it's like, how do we prioritize the floatable, the lawn chairs, the security camera, or anything else if we may do that? I don't know how to do that, but it does take time to fill out the thing. Jim, I appreciate you helping that. We just need to fill one of them out. It's silly for us not to, as a community, fill something
I'll
else.
see that it gets done.
Well, could I just jump in? I brought some information into Ron and Doug earlier as far as putting together a campaign to raise money for like the chase lounges at the pool, and I think we could include that and include the floatable in on that fundraising. So I guess I would like to give that a try using, other than maybe the foundation. It would be my thought to try to raise money separately for the pool. And then maybe use the foundation grant for the security system, unless there's something else.
If we were gonna go with one of those, the council would be committed then to the 20%. I'm assuming.
Match.
Right, okay. That's basically.
So if we apply for 10,000, we're going to put 2,000 in on it.
Right, okay.
Oh, but I think we also can use in kind, though, can't we?
Yeah, you can
So
use
labor.
in kind, but the only thing, you can apply for the grant, and I'm not 100% sure for this year, but just because you apply doesn't mean you'll get the whole thing. You might get partial funding. Then we can decide whether we want to accept it or not too. So
Okay.
I mean, there's no guarantees if they get it that we would get everything too. So just
Please,
my
Bob.
understanding.
When we applied for the grant to get the cameras and the recording devices over in the police department, there wasn't enough there to do the whole thing of what we originally were going to do. well, then you go and get what you can get it installed. Like you might have your recording device that you get, a couple of cameras or whatever, and then you go and buy more cameras, make sure you get the recording device big enough, and then add cameras, down the road.
And that's the part I would like to see us start. I mean, we need to build to build out. And I think that we wait another year and those kind of things, then it's just another year down there. And I think I'm going to ask, I'd like to have everybody's kind of comments and thoughts to give them to the city manager. I'll decide whether I want to put it back on the agenda for the 13th or for our next workshop meeting if we want to consider putting it in, because now it's out, so that means it's not going to be even considered partial or anything, is my understanding, by what we talked about. And I just bringing out from a security and those type of things, it's no one else. I would prefer for the city to take the lead on Progress Park. It's not just the pool. The way I understood it is some of the designs was it was high enough up that it would be the whole park and the playground and the skate park, and not just the pool or the pool parking lot, and keeping that in our community and us starting it. I think it's been talked about since for whenever on our parks and saving time and that stuff, and I think it's important enough for more discussion. So as a council and for the public, if anybody has thoughts on this and that stuff, please get in touch with us and give us your thoughts, because right now it won't be it won't even be considered. So that's all I have. I want to thank the city staff for everything they've done. It's been a weird winter and it's still calling for more. So I appreciate all the community keeping in mind that people are walking on these streets, and some people have been a little bit lax on doing their sidewalks. And I think that with the cold coming in and another maybe route of snow, it's going to keep getting worse. So that's something that we need to keep our community able to walk. There's kids walking to schools and paths and those type of things, and for people who just, it's been numerous months and there are people who have not done anything with their sidewalks, so I would plead to them to get it knocked out, because it's going to keep getting worse and worse as snow, and it's just January, and some people haven't done their first round of snow removal, and we need to make it kind of aware that we can't continue to turn a blind eye to these things, our ordinances. So that's all I have. I think I will look for an adjournment, a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Dick. Second by Val to adjourn this regular session of the Hampton City Council at 7:04. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you. Dismissed.